You won't believe what Hollywood icon George Clooney just declared in his latest interview. A man once famed for his smoldering chemistry in romantic roles, the guy audiences swooned over for decades, suddenly said something that flipped the script on his entire legacy. He looked straight into the camera and said, almost casually, that he's done kissing co-stars on screen. No more smooches, no more romance scenes, no more blockbuster kisses with leading ladies. Just none of it. That sounds simple, but it isn't. Because this isn't just about acting choices. This moment reveals something bigger about age, love, boundaries, and what it really means to grow up in the spotlight. And we're going to unpack every last layer of it. But first, what exactly did he say, and why are even his closest friends talking about it in disbelief right now? Stick around, it gets crazier. A Hollywood legend makes a surprising announcement. George Clooney, now 65 years old, isn't just any actor. He's one of the few performers whose name alone could sell a movie, especially if romance was involved. From sweeping love stories to witty rom-coms, he built a reputation as the kind of leading man who could do it all. But in a recent interview, Clooney made a statement that stopped critics and fans alike cold. He said he will no longer be kissing female co-stars on screen. Period. He didn't frame it as a marketing strategy. He didn't hint at it between the lines. He said it straight. He's closing the door on on-screen romance. And if that sounds radical coming from someone who once starred opposite Julia Roberts, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Catherine Zeta-Jones, wait until you hear the unusual inspiration behind this decision. But before we get to that, you need to understand the personal crossroads that sparked this transformation. The turning point, age, reality, and a conversation with Amal. This shift didn't happen overnight. Clooney said the idea took root around his 60th birthday, a milestone that forced him to think about how he wants to spend the next chapters of his life. In the interview, he said he had a frank conversation with his wife, Amal Clooney, herself a world-renowned human rights lawyer, about what roles he wants to continue taking. He said something startlingly honest. Even though he can still keep up with younger friends on the basketball court and stay in great shape, he realized that in 25 years, he'll be 85, and that's a real number. That might sound like a simple math lesson, but for someone who has spent decades playing characters decades younger than he is, it hit him in a deep way. And while that sounds like an introspective choice, there's more to how this actually connects to his life off-camera, including what Amal really thinks about this new chapter. But we'll get to that in just a moment. Paul Newman, legacy and not looking back. Clooney didn't coin this idea out of thin air. He referenced one of Hollywood's most revered figures, Paul Newman, who famously made a similar choice later in his own career. Newman, like Clooney, was known for his looks and romantic appeal in films, but in time he shifted focus toward roles that resonated with who he was, a man, not a cinematic fantasy. Clooney said he's trying to follow that same path, to let his career evolve as his life evolves. That might feel like a small detail, but for fans who grew up watching Clooney as the guy you wanted to fall in love with, it's huge. He's essentially saying goodbye to one of the things that made him a star. So what does this mean for his future roles? Will he only choose action and drama now? Or is there something deeper about self-respect, identity, and authenticity at play? We'll explore that next, because the answer may surprise you.
What this say about his marriage and personal life? To understand the full picture, you have to look at Clooney's life away from Hollywood too. He and Amal married in 2014, and they've since become one of the most admired couples in the world. In the same interview where he announced his no-kissing rule, Clooney spoke candidly about how marriage has shaped his perspective. He even revealed that despite years together, he and Amal have never had a full-blown argument. Whether that's exactly true or a bit of celebrity hyperbole, it points to something important. Clooney clearly places enormous value on respect, loyalty, and mutual understanding in his personal life. And that's why his choice isn't just a career move, it's an expression of who he's become, a man whose priorities have shifted from Hollywood glamour to personal truth. But the story doesn't end here. What Clooney's decision reveals about aging and Hollywood expectations might shock you, especially when you consider what audiences still expect from aging stars. Hollywood expectations versus reality. Hollywood doesn't always make space for aging actors. Too often, the industry treats age as something to hide, erase, or ignore, especially for men who once played romantic leads. Clooney's decision to step back from on-screen romance forces a question that many fans rarely ask. Should actors be expected to perform intimate scenes just to fit a certain image, even when it doesn't match their real life anymore? Clooney himself hinted that trying to compete with 25-year-old leading men just doesn't make sense anymore. He wants roles that feel authentic to who he is today, not roles shoehorned into outdated expectations. And here's where it gets interesting. Even though some fans joked that he's too old for romantic roles, Clooney's decision isn't about age alone. It's about agency, about choosing what feels right for him, not what Hollywood might want. Still, some classic fans worry this means a loss of the Clooney charm we've all loved. But the real question is, does this choice redefine him for the better? The answer lies in how he continues to shape his career moving forward. Fan reactions and cultural impact. Almost immediately after the interview dropped, social commentary exploded online. Some people cheered Clooney for standing by his personal values and marking a new era in his career. Others criticized the wording he used, pointing out that terms like girls can sound out of place when he's in his 60s. Reddit threads lit up debating whether Clooney's choice is about respect, image, or just plain common sense, and the variety of opinions shows something bigger. Audiences today want celebrities to be honest about boundaries and personal growth. But the reactions also reveal how attached we are to the idea of romantic heroes who never age, and that opens a bigger cultural loop. Are we ready to let our stars grow up and grow old without clinging to outdated fantasy roles? We'll wrap up that thought in just a moment, because what Clooney's choice really signals about Hollywood's future is the most important part of this whole story. Why this moment matters. George Clooney's decision to stop kissing co-stars on screen may seem like a simple career update at first glance, but when you dig deeper, it's a moment that redefines what it means to be a leading man in modern Hollywood. It's not just about aging gracefully, it's about choosing comfort, authenticity, and personal truth over outdated expectations. It's about an actor deciding that life and love can be richer off the screen than on it, and that choice could influence how other actors navigate their own careers as they get older. Clooney has always been a man of nuance, whether he's selling a script, directing a film, or stepping into a courtroom with Amal by his side. Now he's teaching a broader lesson. Sometimes retiring a trope is just as powerful as mastering one. And with that, one of Hollywood's most iconic figures isn't just changing his own story. He's reminding all of us that growth isn't a loss. It's a continuation of something far deeper. That's the story behind why George Clooney says he's done kissing on screen. And now you know the surprising truth beyond the headline.